Shocking, the third secret of Fatima has already begun in the USA. In the shadow of global uncertainty, a chilling question lingers. Could the long-hidden third secret of Fatima finally be upon us in 2024? For those who believe, this possibility stirs deep anxiety. Revealed in part by the Vatican in 2000, the secret foretold an angel with a flaming sword, ready to unleash destruction upon the world. It all began on May 13, 1917, when 3 shepherd children witnessed a divine apparition, the Lady of Fatima, who entrusted them with 3 grave prophecies, messages that foretold unimaginable trials for humanity, and a final secret shrouded in darkness for decades. What then does this final prophecy hold for us? Could it foretell cataclysmic events on the horizon? In this video, we delve into the frightening revelations of the third secret of Fatima and explore why it could soon become a grim reality. If your faith is strong, stay with us and subscribe for more insights into these crucial warnings. The story unfolds in Fatima, a quiet town nestled in Portugal. On a day that would change their lives forever, 3 innocent children were tending to their sheep in a place known as Cova d'Era, also called the Cove of Peace. It was high noon, and after reciting the rosary, as they faithfully did each day, they began to play. Suddenly, a brilliant flash of light tore through the sky. Fearing an approaching storm, the children hurried to gather the sheep and head home. But then, a second, even more dazzling light appeared. Above a small oak tree, a luminous glow emerged, and within it, a beautiful lady dressed in white hovered gracefully above the tree. Clutching a white rosary in her hands, she began to speak to the children. This divine encounter marked the beginning of an extraordinary journey that continues to captivate the world to this day. The lady, whom the children believed to be the Blessed Virgin Mary, implored them to pray the rosary daily for the sake of world peace and to bring an end to all wars. Her request was just the beginning of several miraculous apparitions that would come to be known as the Apparitions of Our Lady of Fatima. Her words to the children were shrouded in mystery, and the secrets she entrusted them with remained hidden for many years. It wasn't until July 1941 that Lucia, one of the children, now a nun, was instructed by her bishop to reveal the first 2 secrets. These secrets revealed terrifying visions of hell and grave prophecies about the future of humanity. Yet the most ominous of all, the third secret, remained veiled in silence for much longer. Days turned into years, and it wasn't until decades later that Sister Lucia entrusted the third secret to the Pope in a sealed envelope, awaiting the time for its revelation. The content of this secret sparked numerous discussions, speculations, and conspiracy theories. The revelation of this secret caused countless controversies and different interpretations among scholars and devotees around the world. Recently, the Pope shared important information about the meaning and consequences of these secrets. His words aim to guide and clarify the messages of Fatima and their significance for today. The visions at Cova d'Era sparked discussions among scholars. Some believe that the name Our Lady of Fatima comes from the fact that the apparitions occurred in Fatima, Portugal. Others suggest that Fatima is an Islamic name for the Virgin Mary, although this association is not universally recognized or accepted in all Islamic communities. This possible connection may stem from the common admiration for Mary, Mother of Jesus, present in both Christianity and Islam. In Islamic culture, Fatima was the name of the Prophet Muhammad's daughter. However, it's important to remember that Mary, called Maryam in Islam, is one of the most revered female figures and is celebrated for her purity, virtue, and devotion to God. In the Quran, Islam's sacred scripture, there is an entire chapter devoted to Maryam, the mother of Isa, known in Christianity as Jesus. This chapter describes her miraculous birth and the divine conception of her son, without the involvement of an earthly father. Mariam's story shares striking similarities with the biblical account of Mary, including her time spent in the temple and her encounter with the angel Gabriel. Yet, there are also distinct differences in how certain events are portrayed. Despite these differences, both faith traditions hold Mary in profound reverence. Similarly, Fatima, the beloved daughter of the Prophet Muhammad, is venerated in Islam for her virtues, purity, and spiritual significance. Some Muslims draw parallels between Mary and Fatima, admiring their shared qualities of faith, devotion, and holiness. Though the connection between Mary and Fatima is often debated, one fact remains undeniable. The visions of 1917 occurred in a small Portuguese town named after the Prophet's daughter Fatima and were revealed by Mary, the Mother of God. During her first apparition, Mary asked the 3 shepherd children to return to that same spot on the 13th day of every month for 6 consecutive months. She foretold that they would face great trials and difficulties, but reassured them that their faithfulness would lead them to heaven. Mary also urged them to pray the rosary daily to bring about peace and to end all wars. In the second apparition on June 13, 1917, Mary gave specific instructions for them to add the Fatima prayer at the end of each decade of the rosary. When the children expressed their longing for heaven, Mary responded tenderly. She revealed that Francisco and Jacinta would be taken to heaven soon, while Lucia would remain on earth longer to continue spreading devotion to her Immaculate Heart. Dear listeners, the third apparition on July 13, 1917, was perhaps the most harrowing. Mary granted the children a vision of hell, filled with the anguished souls of the damned. She emphasized that God wished for the world to embrace devotion to her Immaculate Heart, as this would be a path to salvation for souls on the brink of eternal damnation. Additionally, Mary foretold the onset of World War II and prophesied the suffering of Christians in Russia. She warned that if Russia were not consecrated to her Immaculate Heart, and if prayers were not offered, the country would spread its errors across the globe, instigating wars and widespread persecution of the Church. The fourth meeting, planned for August 19, 1917, was met with unforeseen obstacles. The children were detained by the local administrator, who sought to prevent them from meeting Mary. However, their devotion remained unshaken. Just 6 days later, on August 25th, Mary appeared to them once more, this time in a nearby field. She urged them to intensify their prayers and sacrifices for sinners, explaining that countless souls were being lost to hell because there were too few willing to offer prayers for their salvation. Through each of these profound encounters, Mary's message to the children and to the world was clear. Prayer, sacrifice, and devotion are the keys to peace and to the salvation of souls. Though they were simple children, their obedience to Mary's words became a testament to the power of faith and the critical importance of heeding heaven's warnings. Following these miraculous apparitions, Francisco and Jacinta tragically passed away within a year of each other due to a devastating flu epidemic that struck Fatima. Even in his grave illness, Francisco remained steadfast in his devotion, offering sacrifices to console the Lord until his peaceful passing in 1919. Initially, he was laid to rest in the local cemetery. Jacinta, too, endured great suffering, dedicating her final days to fervent prayer for world peace and the salvation of lost souls. She died in 1920 and was first buried in her family's tomb before being transferred to the parish cemetery. By 1930, the Catholic Church officially recognized the miraculous nature of the apparitions experienced by the children, deeming them worthy of belief. In 1952, a special tomb was prepared for Francisco and Jacinta, placing them on either side of the main altar as symbols of light guiding the faithful. Their unwavering devotion continues to inspire believers worldwide. Meanwhile, Lucia embraced the religious life, becoming a nun in 1934. By 1941, she shared her detailed account in the memoirs of Sister Lucia, revealing the secrets entrusted to her and her cousins by the Blessed Virgin Mary. In her memoirs, Lucia unveiled the first of the three secrets, a vision so terrifying that it left a deep impression on the children. The Blessed Virgin showed them a horrifying glimpse of hell, a vast sea of fire located beneath the earth's surface. Within this fiery abyss, countless souls, tormented and suffering, writhed in agony alongside demonic figures. The souls appeared as burning embers, floating helplessly amidst the scorching flames, while the demons took on hideous forms, their black, transparent bodies only amplifying their grotesque and terrifying appearance. Sister Lucia described the vision as an overwhelming experience of suffering and horror, a revelation that profoundly marked the children and instilled in them a deep sense of urgency to pray for the salvation of souls. After this terrifying vision, the lady also shared a message of hope and redemption. She informed the children that there was a way to save many souls from this dreadful fate and to prevent wars from devastating the world. The solution, according to her, was for people to stop offending God. She warned that if people did not change their ways, even worse consequences could occur. Interestingly, the lady's message proved to be significant, as adherence to her requests coincided with the end of World War I, which was happening at that time. This celestial figure shared these mysteries with the children, but there was more to tell. The second mystery foretold that the First World War would end, but soon another, the Second World War, would come during the time of Pope Pius X. The lady gave a sign for the children to know when this would happen. A strange and bright light would appear in the night sky. This light would be a warning that God was about to punish the world with wars, famines, and persecutions because of the many sins of the people. The lady also explained that the only way to prevent these disasters was to dedicate Russia to her Immaculate Heart and to perform acts of reparation on the first Saturdays of each month. She promised that if they did as she asked, peace would return and Russia would change. However, if they did not follow her directions, the world would suffer from wars, persecution of the church, and many would become martyrs. These revelations filled the children with a sense of purpose and great happiness. As they followed the lady's advice, their dedication to her Immaculate Heart became a pillar of strength and guidance, helping them face challenges and sacrifices along the way. The lady's promises to always be with them in the ultimate triumph of her Immaculate Heart gave them hope and direction, strengthening their faith and commitment to her words. This powerful vision conveyed an urgent message about the need for repentance and divine intervention. The children were profoundly affected by these visions, which carried deep spiritual and moral significance for the world. The third secret of Fatima sparked intense discussions and interpretations as it emphasized the vital importance of prayer, penance, and devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. These sacred practices were presented as key to winning spiritual battles and securing the promise of peace through obedience to God's commandments and heartfelt devotion to Mary. Sister Lucia later recounted that in the vision, the children saw a figure resembling a bishop dressed in white, illuminated by a brilliant light as if reflected in a mirror. Based on their understanding, they believed this figure to be the Pope. As the vision unfolded, Lucia and the other children saw religious figures, bishops, priests, and nuns, climbing a steep and arduous mountain. At the summit of this mountain stood a large cross, constructed from the trunks of cork trees. The Pope, weary and sorrowful, made his way up the mountain with great difficulty, traversing through a city partially in ruins. Trembling with grief, he prayed over the bodies of the fallen that lay in his path. When the Pope finally reached the cross, he was attacked by soldiers who shot arrows and bullets at him, resulting in his death. Tragically, the other religious figures climbing the mountain met the same fate. At the foot of the cross, 2 angels appeared, holding crystal containers in their hands. With these, they gathered the blood of the martyrs, blessing their souls as they ascended to heaven. This poignant vision remains a reminder of the spiritual battles we face and the ultimate triumph of faith, sacrifice, and devotion. It calls upon the faithful to embrace prayer, penance, and a deep connection to the Immaculate Heart of Mary as the path to true peace and salvation. On May 13, 1981, exactly 64 years after the first appearance of Mary and Fatima, there was an assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II. The shooters fired 4 bullets at him, which led to a long and complex surgery to save his life. The vision described by Lucia clearly depicted a scene of great suffering and martyrdom. Some scholars interpret the image of the bishop dressed in white, the steep climb, and the brutal deaths at the foot of the cross as symbols of the challenges and sacrifices faced by the Church. They believe that the angels collecting the blood of the martyrs symbolize the holiness and eternal reward for their sacrifices. This vision is seen as a sign of the great challenges that the Church and its leaders would face. Additionally, the assassination attempt on John Paul II is often considered a partial confirmation of this vision. The Pope's survival and the events that followed are viewed as representations of the ongoing spiritual battles and the need for faith and perseverance. While the Pope was recovering from the assassination attempt, he spoke from the hospital where he was admitted, declaring that he had forgiven the man who tried to kill him. It took him 2 months to recover enough to return home. This event sparked speculation about whether it could be the fulfillment of the third secret of Fatima. The Pope himself believed that his survival was a miracle due to the intervention of the Virgin Mary. In gratitude, he visited the Fatima Shrine in Portugal the following year. During this visit, he delivered the bullet that nearly killed him, and it was placed in the crown of the statue of the Queen of Fatima, fitting perfectly into a space between the branches of the crown. Our Lady of Guadalupe stands as one of the most cherished and revered figures in Marian apparitions across the globe. Her story takes us back to 1531, when she is believed to have appeared to an indigenous man named Juan Diego on Mount Tepeyac, near what is now Mexico City. During this miraculous encounter, the Virgin Mary requested that a church be built on that very spot in her honor. When Juan Diego conveyed this divine message to the local church authorities, they were skeptical and demanded a sign to confirm the authenticity of his claim. In today's world, the prophecies of Fatima remain a powerful testament to the need for spiritual vigilance. The question remains, are we listening to these divine warnings, and will we act before it's too late? The answers lie within our response to these divine invitations to change. If you want to explore more about these profound mysteries and what the future may hold, click the link on your screen. And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content.